Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be providing a long-term market analysis update for Chainlink. So today I'll be covering the weekly RSI, the 20 and 21 weekly averages, some key support and resistance levels, and then finally the Chainlink Bitcoin ratio. So if you guys enjoy the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Also, by the way, feel free to check out our sponsors. This channel is partnered with FTX.us. You can check them out in the link in the description below. So I'm going to start off here with Chainlink on the weekly chart. And I really just want to do a recap of some of the stuff discussed in the previous videos where I'm going to be first looking at these two moving averages. So if you've been following my channel and my videos, I really like to talk about the 20-week average, which is the red line, and then the 21-week exponential average, which is the green line, and I like to consider them as a band. You can see that Chainlink has been holding resistance off of these ever since the bear market really started to begin when Bitcoin peaked back in November of 2021. You can see that back in November, Chainlink first started to lose these moving averages, came back up, and then formed a lower high, a point of resistance along these moving averages. And then we came back down, we formed lower lows, another bounce right up into these moving averages, another rejection, another lower high. Now you can see that we have had a retest back to these moving averages on the weeks of August 8th, as well as the last few weeks. And the difference this time around is that we haven't had any significant rejections off of these. And the most important thing that I consider from this chart is that each of these rejections was followed up with lower lows. Very quickly, we came back down, we broke support, and then we continued lower. But this time around, we're still holding the initial lows that were set back in the May capitulation, and we're still holding this support on the weekly. So just to give you that illustration of what I'm talking about, we had this first initial level of support around $15, and then following this rejection, we came back down and then we formed a new low below that support around $11. And then a similar thing happened where once we rejected, we came back down, lost that support, and then continued lower. But this time around, again, we haven't lost or broken down the structure. We're still generally consolidating within this range, with the support being around $6, the resistance at $9. So this definitely starts to look a lot more positive to me. And this isn't to say that the downtrend definitely has to be over, but from my perspective, when I look at this, it really does look like the momentum is at the very least starting to slow down. And that brings me into this indicator at the bottom. This is the relative strength index. It shows us the relative strength or weakness of a trend. If the RSI is above 70, that means the asset is overbought. If it's below 30, that means it's oversold. Anywhere around 50, which is the midpoint, is going to be neutral, so it's not overbought or oversold. And with Chainlink, you can see that it has been below neutral ever since the bear market really began back in November of 2021. And we've been in this longer term downtrend on the RSI where we had this massive peak back in August of 2020. This was the DeFi summer peak. That is when the LINKBTC ratio had its all-time high. And ever since then, the RSI has been having lower highs as well as lower lows. And I've illustrated this downtrend with these two yellow lines. You can see that fairly consistently, the RSI has formed these lower highs off these trend lines every few months or so. Now, the important takeaway here is that this represents a 2-year-long decline and downtrend on the RSI. With, again, that first peak back in August of 2020, 2 years of declining on the RSI is very significant. And this is a weekly chart just to remind you, so this will definitely play out over a long period of time. But what we're seeing here is that we're starting to break back above these downward sloping trend lines, and we're starting to form higher highs and higher lows. So this is a very promising sign on the RSI, and it really does lead me to believe that even if the downtrend isn't over, the momentum is definitely starting to slow down. The aggression to the downside, the aggression to these sell-offs is no longer as severe as it was back earlier on in the bear market. So what I would look to is on the RSI, if we can continue this mini uptrend we've started back in May, that would be a great sign, and that could really start to give me more confidence and more evidence to suggest that we might have a longer term bottom in place. And just to give you an illustration, this is the current uptrend that we've been in. You can see again those higher highs, higher lows, and that is definitely a reversal or a difference to this longer term downtrend that we've had. And what I want to see is a continuation of this. If we can just get it back, especially above the neutral point at 50, that would be a very bullish sign. So that's something to watch out for into the next few months. Again, this is a weekly chart, so these RSI prints will take a long time to come out and start to play out. So now I want to switch over here to the LINKBTC ratio, which I think is extremely important to consider. And I'm also on a weekly chart right here. And what I'm going to be looking at is this familiar zone, if you've been watching my videos, ranging from around 34 to 37,000 satoshis. Now, back in 2019, this was a very strong point of resistance. We had a rejection in July, another rejection in October, as well as November. And then eventually when LINKBTC got back above this, it flipped it into support. We had a pretty nice bounce, which led to this impressive all-time high around 170,000 satoshis. And then eventually we came back down, retested it as support. It held as support. Another retest in December of 2021. And then we had the May move back below this level. But you can see that over the last few weeks, we've started to come back above this level and we're really starting to test it once again. And that is a great sign. It's definitely something that I do want to see longer term to start flipping bullish on this. And when I say flipping bullish, you got to look and respect the longer term downtrend. Again, we've been in this downtrend ever since August of 2020 on the Chainlink Bitcoin ratio. So if we can break this structure where maybe we have some consolidation, maybe we reclaim this level, and then ideally breaking above this resistance, that would be a phenomenal sign. This would really start to shift the longer term momentum back to the upside. And when I zoom out here, you can see that Link Bitcoin back in the previous cycle did extremely well. Chainlink had a very high outperformance with respect to Bitcoin back in the previous cycle, and you can see that trend illustrated on the Link Bitcoin ratio very nicely. We had the higher highs, higher lows, and that very consistent uptrend. So that's what I want to see start to play out. I do want to see a break of this downward sloping resistance. If we can reclaim and convincingly hold above the 34 to 37,000 Satoshi resistance, that would be a great sign that we're starting to reverse this longer term downtrend. So I hope you guys did enjoy the content and the analysis. By the way, make sure to check out our sponsors in the link in the description below. You can sign up through my referral code SNOWYCrypto or through the link in the description below and get a 5% discount on exchange fees. As always, I hope you enjoyed and I'll see you in the next one.